Welcome back to Pewdiepie. I'm Zui and I hope you enjoyed today's video. But before we get right into it, I'm obligated to remind you to click either the like or dislike button, commenting something down below, and of course sharing the video so more people can see and enjoy it. This is very important as it helps with the YouTube algorithm. I want you to know that your help is greatly appreciated. If you have any suggestions or ideas for a story, my Discord link is in my link tree that is down in the description, as well as my Patreon and Ko-fi for any donations you may want to send my way. Every cent counts. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Having a mutation quirk like yours was bothersome. Mostly because it prevented you from being taken serious. After all, despite the great offensive capabilities of your quirk, Alpha Predator, your outward appearance was perceived as overly cute. They ignored your enhanced agility, strength, and most importantly durability, because you had to deal with certain hereditary features. One of them was aggressive hair growth, starting at your wrists, going to your elbows and your lower legs. A fluffy tail that made lying on your back quite uncomfortable. And dog ears. Your father tried to lighten your mood by calling them wolf ears, but you both knew that in the end it was the same thing. At the moment you were sitting inside the common room of your dorms. It had been a very hot day, and the others in your class had gotten permission from Ayazawa to use the school pools for, as Lida had put it, recreational purposes. Seems as if Kaminari and Minada had learned from their last blunder. Sure, you were invited too, yet you heavily disliked the school swimsuits. Mostly because of the color and the fact you weren't allowed to cut a hole into it for your tail. Then again, you probably should have asked someone who wasn't Aizawa about this issue. But if you refused to wear your regular swimsuit, you'd be sticking out like a sore thumb. And why wouldn't you leave the comfort of your dorms? After closing the blinds of the large windows and cranking the AC unit to extra cold, it probably was more refreshing in the common room than at the pools themselves. When you had first laid eyes on the air conditioner unit, you thought you would have an aneurysm. You had begged your parents for years to get one installed at your home, but apparently it was too expensive. You were about to doze off on the sofa when footsteps approached you from somewhere behind you. Even though it wasn't intentional, you immediately braced yourself. Because of your mutation, you had to deal with certain comments and requests from certain classmates of yours, and you're right now way too relaxed to deal with that. No, Mineta, I'm not going to bore you, you growled, after the person stopped right behind you. Meanwhile, Bakugo, on the other hand, just looked at you dumbfounded. The fuck's vor? Blushing, you turned your head. Sorry, Katsuki, I thought you were someone else. The blonde blinked. Still isn't answering my question. You shook your head. Trust me, you don't wanna know. He simply shrugged and walked over to the other sofa in front of you. Bored? He asked after he sat down. He scoffed affirmingly but didn't answer. After a minute of almost awkward silence, you finally spoke up. Thought you were with the others. He shrugged. Last time was for training. I don't like chlorine in my water, so I didn't go. Now if this was a regular lake, it would be different. Your lips perked up. So do I. Makes my, you looked at your hairy arms. Fur? Fur? He said. Yeah. I could smell like it for days, even after using that sweet baby shampoo I used to avoid dandruff. He raised an eyebrow. I can imagine that sucking. You leaned back and teasingly asked, where's the sudden interest in me coming from, Bakugo? He blinked. You're not the guy who talks to a lot of people. You playfully grinned. You're the kind of guy who pushes everyone away, just to see who cares enough about you to give you a second chance after second chance after a second chance after a second chance. A smell wafted over to you. Not a fart. But thanks to your canine nature, you could smell mood changes in the air. Not that you needed to smell his anger to realize that you just offended him. His eyes widened and his neutral expression turned pouty. And one of his fingers twitched as if he was about to jump up and point the sad finger at you. You sighed, rolling your eyes. It was time to defuse the situation, which was ironic considering what his quirk was. Here, I'll help you. You gave a quiet cough before imitating his voice, saying, one more comment like that and we go visit the farm where all the dogs can play free forever. He was taken aback. Oh, that was a good imitation. You grinned. Well, in a world of quirks, talents are usually forgotten. But they still exist. He shrugged. In that case, I wonder how many people are quirkless losers who just happen to have a very useful talent. You giggled. What? He said with a smug smile. If your quirk was gone, what talent would you use to still live comfortable? He blinked. Nah, I'm a smart guy. If that were to happen, I could come up with something. But I don't want to waste my time thinking about something that won't happen. Shrugging, you scoffed. Why does everyone tell me this doesn't make sense when I come up with hypothetical scenarios? I mean, that's the point of them. Imagine what you would do if X happens. Why is that so difficult for most people? He snipped his fingers. I actually gotcha. I did answer your question. First part of my last sentence. You pouted. Fine, you win. Bakugo chuckled. What? Your ears just dropped. You blushed in embarrassment and he gave you a hearty laugh. In an attempt to steer the conversation back into your favor, you blurted out, cut that crap, why are you really talking to me? For a moment his movement stopped. His stupid grin replaced with shame. Lost a bet. You blinked. Sure, you weren't the most popular girl, but the fact the boys needed to lose a bet to pay attention to you, that was very insulting. Bet? You asked. The drop in your mood being very audible. What bet? He raised both hands defensively. Not what you think. What am I thinking? You barked. He sighed. Lost the bet with shitty hair. As punishment, he said I should spend the evening with you. Now that he said it out loud, it did sound like what you were thinking. He sighed in resignation. I know how this sounds, but I've trouble bringing my point across because it sounds like an excuse. Annoyed, you simply said, just put it on the table. You lost the bet, and I'll spend the rest of the day with your puppy. What did he just say? Your eyes began to rapidly blink as you attempted to process what he just said. Puppy? Some of this was more insulting. He shrugged. Man's gotta respect the bet. Puppy? You barked. Ironically. Wait, is that how you call me in your friend's circle? He nodded. You were starting to put two and two together, but you needed more info, just to be sure. So far, you had not shown interest in Bakugo. The thought he'd ever even want to talk to you felt foreign. And now that you knew he called you puppy behind your back. Dude, do you have a crush on me? You blurted out, perplexed.
Yeah. I guess. Yes, I do.
Not quite the confident answer you expected. I ask one more time. Do you have a...
Yes.
He interrupted, almost sounding annoyed. Why? We never even talk. He shrugged.
Guess that's why. Plus I like dogs. And who doesn't like puppies?
Sarcastically, you added. Well, yeah, who doesn't? In fact, there are people who like them a little too much. Just the thought made a cold shower wash down your back. It's just all of these extras.
Either want to lick my boot or disrespect me. I ain't sure I like bootlickers, but I never date one.
You grinned. And you thought you could just ask me out. I barely know you. Except for your constant overreactions. You scratched your chin in thought. Then again, him acting out during class was refreshing and made boring lectures fun. You decided, however, not to say that. Bakugo shrugged and almost forced a grin.
Might as well try right now, huh? When no one's here. And can't make stupid comments.
You crossed your arms. Fine, I guess. But... He looked you straight in the eyes. Don't call me puppy. And don't ever pull my tail. Unless I ask you to. You added in thought. If you only once throw something and say go fetch, I will castrate you. Oh, and please only flirt when others aren't around. They would definitely make a big deal out of it. Lastly, you sighed heavily. Absolutely no vor. He slapped his knees in resignation.
Okay, seriously, what the fuck is vor?
Bakugo, if we make out, will you forget about asking? Bakugo blinked. You really didn't want to tell him, huh? He shrugged.
Well, do what you must,
he said with a challenging smirk. Crossing your arms, you stood up from your sofa and walked over to Bakugo. With a huff, you sat down on the armrest next to him, only to quickly take his arm, pulling him into you. His head quickly turned red, realizing that he found himself between your breasts. I know what you're thinking, big boy. Go on. Say it. You said with a happy sigh. He grinned.
Yeah, fine. Those are some fine puppies you got there.
Smirking, you shook your head, allowing him to get back an eye level with you. This close, his crimson eyes almost looked like they were glowing. Or maybe he was just excited about the prospect of making out. You then lunged forward. The moment his lips touched yours, you could tell that he never did this before. You let him awkwardly eat your face for a few seconds before pushing him off. Nope, no, you said. He looked at you perplexed. Clearly Bakugo never had someone say no to him like that. Let me think. You could tell by his expression that his brain had severe lack of blood flow right now. Shrugging, you muttered, "Just let me take over, alright?" Now he leaned forward, pressing your soft lips onto his while taking one of his hands in yours. It was soft, wet, and at least he didn't taste gross. But, most importantly, whenever he tried to take over control,
You dug your fingers deep into his flesh until he stopped. Baku groaned, and you took this as a sign to gently push your tongue past his lips. The blonde couldn't believe what was happening. He never surrendered himself like this to someone. Furthermore, he never expected to like it so much. And for a moment the two of you separated. And this is how you kiss your big baby. He was too flustered to say anything. What's with that look? You said with a smug grin as a small drop of spittle ran down his chin. He stopped talking and looked away.
Can you take over like that more often?
Gently you combed through his hair with one hand. I sure can, you big old baby.